Alright, welcome back to the Bob Tuskin Show. Scott from the Beliversunderground joining us. A lot to talk about, so I'll let Scott get right back into it. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, as the Beliversunderground is progressively growing, and breaking new territory, like Enough Respect put me on their channel page this week. John with the Exomatrix been standing by me, and these guys have taken major attacks because of me, because I'm a pastor. And man, that took some courage. And boy, I've taken major attacks too. There have been some people in the truth movement that I don't know if they're in the truth movement or not, but boy, I'll tell you what, they just ripped into us, man. And, I won't mention names because why should I, But, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Christ came to heal the sick. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm supposed to be, I'm a truther breaking through lines that haven't been broken through before. And I'm a spiritual dude. I ain't a religious dude. And yeah, man, I love God, man.
That seems to be a theme today.
Yeah, but the thing is we're going through earth changes. There's nothing going to stop them. And the thing is we got to start. We're going to have to roll with the flow. This ain't about fear. Fear is just a thought that flies in your head, man. Think about something else. Okay, it's the same thing with greed, same thing with control. It's just thoughts, man. Those are bad thoughts. Just get them out of your head. Now, we're going to have to roll with the flow. You had a person from Louisiana calling. Louisiana isn't bad. It's in bad shape. You're just going to have more and more water going in there. New Madrid has a history of breaking during the winter, because ice expands. Water expands when it's cold. So, that's why it has a history of going in the wintertime. And you got all this new water in there, but you also have new infrastructure, poor drainage, but the main thing is the nuclear power plants. Now, remember that sinkhole in Guatemala? That huge sinkhole?
No.
You don't remember it? Okay. Last year they had this big old sinkhole. It swallowed up this big old apartment complex and everything else, and it almost looked like it was man-made because it was so circular. Well, we're getting these sinkholes in laking systems too. Now, you get a big earthquake, it can actually just suck in an entire laking system. And I've already seen 3 laking systems go. One in Spain, one in China, and I can't remember offhand where the other one was, but, all of a sudden it was there, and the next day it wasn't, okay? Now, if you get one of these events taking place where it's cooling a nuclear reactor, it doesn't matter how many backups you got. If you don't got the water to go in, you're done. It's a meltdown. That's why the United Nations came out, the Secretary of the United Nations 2 weeks ago, and said, we're going to have more meltdowns, point blank. And I don't see anything stopping it. I mean, you're getting all this water melting, and it's a runaway, big time. And it's going to trigger off all kinds of events. It's a magma push. When I came on YouTube, my second video, and I had my USGS grant in there, and I point blank told everyone, man, hey, we're going to have an increase in volcanic activity 200 to 400%. Well, it's up 380% now. I mean, this stuff sinks the ocean floor because you're talking water glaciers now. They're super heavy. We're talking hundreds of trillions of tons of weight. And they go into these very geo-unstable zones. I mean, they sink them down, and they start to pull the islands down with them. That's why you're not seeing any sea level rise on the coast, because it's not sea level rise. It's ocean floor sinking. And the whole reason why this stuff is melting in the first place, the problem is why ice melts, and it's because of the nuclear industry. Okay, those nuclear power plants, they burn at 3.5 million degrees. I mean, you're releasing hell on earth. And I mean, you got 3 plants burning out of control over there at Fukushima now. And man, I knew right from the get they were a meltdown. I mean, heck, you see the whole structure blow to kingdom come. I mean, God, you gotta be moron not to say you got a problem. You know, I mean, it's just common sense stuff. But the way they do it is they release this information slowly over time. Now we're a little over 2 months into this, and people are going, you know, then they say, okay, yeah, they're in meltdown and stuff, and people go, well, you know, I'm still alive, so I guess it's, you know, okay, I guess, you know, it's a numbing effect. You know, you're numb to it now. You know, enough time has passed where you're not, you know, saying, hey, it's a big problem.
People are conditioned.
Yeah. And they're doing that with everything concerning the weather. Now, we got a big problem. We got permafrost melting, which is the upper areas. They're frozen, you know, the ground, and then they defrost, and that ground actually moves and stretches, you know, and then it refreezes. And these nuclear power plants they're not set up for that, man. You know, there's no expando pipes. These are hard pipes. And I mean, just here in the U.S. last year, you had 14 nuclear power plant problems, okay, from poor roofs and everything else. They just won't put a nickel into them, you know, because it's all about money and corporations.
How come we never heard about any of these on the news?
Yeah, I have a video on my faves. And I mean, this came right out of the NRC. The thing is when you're dealing with nothing but fiction, okay, this is called legal fiction. That Fed being voted in was an act. It's not law. It's an act. These are acts and statutes, and they try to push them off like they're a law. Well, they're not a law. And 99% of this stuff is legal fiction. And that should tell you something. It's idolatry, man. They gave a piece of paper life. It don't have no life. You might as well be worshiping a golden calf, okay? And they're fornicating with idols, jumping in bed because it's going to make them a bunch of money because they're just a bunch of money whores. And you know, they're always watching what the left hand and the right hand is doing. They're totally walking against the principles of God, and they think that they're righteous.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. It's this perversion of worshiping money, the one eye, you know, this system of control, the Federal Reserve notes, whatever you want to call it. We'll pick it up with Scott from the Believers Underground in just a moment, folks. Fascinating stuff. Scott always touches on a great list of topics. We'll also get some calls perhaps at 866-841-1065. If you have any questions or comments for Scott, please call up. 866-841-1065. Get out a crayon, write this down. Scott's going to be taking calls for the rest of the program. 866-841-1065. We'll be back next week, starting off Monday with Memorial Day, with our good friend Dennis McKenna, who will be joining us for the full program, and other fascinating guests to be announced for next week. All right, folks, this is the Bob Tuskin Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in seconds. Welcome back to the Bob Tuskin Show. Per usual, we have Scott with us from the Believers Underground. And we are taking calls, 866-841-1065. Let's start off with James in Nevada. James, welcome to the Bob Tuskin Show.
Hey, Bob. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on some information I received. You might be interested. You know how we all have our sources that, you know, these guys have been doing this stuff for 20, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're 100% right on, so why not listen to them? Anyway, based on what you guys were talking about, you made a comment about Iran being attacked through Israel. I just got some information from a source that mentioned Fukushima. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of speculation out there, and all kinds of, you know, they've been suppressing the information, what's really going on. Anyway, this guy made a really good observation about the fact that Japan was storing uranium for Iran, and that's what Fukushima was all about. And if you think about it, the point that this guy made was the tsunami is what created all the damage. A 9-point earthquake in Japan would have leveled all the buildings. You know, I know they've been preparing for earthquakes and tsunamis and whatnot, but think about it. A 9-point earthquake, which is what they told us was the ultimately what that earthquake came in at. It would have leveled all the buildings. The only destruction, like I said, was caused by the tsunami. So this guy's point was that Israel, because they came to the conclusion that Japan was storing uranium for Iran, sent them a huge message and bombed. I don't know how this works. You know, they got technology, 100 years that we don't know about.
Yeah, I have no doubt, James. I have no doubt whatsoever. And of course, as you know, James, I come from a Jewish family, and this isn't about the people. Again, this is about
exactly
corrupted individuals who are.
I'm not talking about Jewish people. Yeah,
absolutely. That goes without saying. This is something that needs to be looked at. We heard that there was Israeli companies involved that own the plants, and then we look at the Stuxnet virus. How do you pronounce that? I always mess that up.
That was mentioned in this guy's report.
Yeah,
he said through Stuxnet they shut the plants down through Stuxnet, and this was already planned out. They already had whatever they used, nukes or whatever, into the ridge of the fault line off the coast where they supposedly said this happened. But if you really put this stuff together and think about it, that was the most important thing this guy said. He said if Japan, and they controlled the information. As soon as it happened, I saw videos of newsrooms. There was nothing shaking, nothing flying around, and these guys were saying, well, we're experiencing an earthquake. But the point is, what I thought was fascinating, and if you think about it, a 9-point earthquake would have leveled all the buildings in Japan completely. And that didn't happen. All the damage was occurred from the tsunami.